everyone, welcome back to the channel. I thought I would do a different version of foot massage for a purpose. It's December, so for a lot of us it's party season, although I'm aware that party is in inverted commas at the moment because there are so many reasons why we can't all get together, but we all know what I'm talking about. So for many of us, whether it's heels or flat shoes or just shoes that pinch or shoes that just after a few hours really do start to hurt your feet, I thought I would put on 3 pairs of different styles of shoes that do actually hurt me if I wear them for more than a few hours, and how I would personally massage my feet to get over that pain. But you know yourself, every shoe hurts if you wear it for too long or it's not comfortable, you've not broken it in. So these are a pair of shoes I really like because I've got the sparkle. But as you can imagine, these start to hurt after a while because they've got the pointed toe. Even though your toes aren't at the end, it actually really starts to pinch here. They also can start to hurt because you've got a lot of pressure on the ball of the foot. And they also start to hurt because it's basically a stiletto. So in all honesty, if someone could dance in these, then wow, I couldn't do it. But I love them, but I couldn't wear them for too long. So I'm going to show you what I would do after a night out or a day out when they're actually starting to ache, and exactly how I would stretch out the feet for this particular style of stiletto. So with that type of stiletto, you're really going to get the redness here because the actual edge of the shoe is going to dig in. You're going to get the red toes. Your pinky toes will probably be quite red. Your feet might be a little bit crushed feeling. The balls of your feet are going to be sore. The heels are going to be sore. So basically, sore feet, very sore feet. So what you could do, depending on how much time you've got, what time of the day or night it is you could actually soak your feet. It doesn't have to be particularly cool water, but you could soak your feet in lukewarm water just to help cool it down. I'm not suggesting an ice bath because, in all honesty, unless you were actually doing exercise or you were in extreme pain, no one's really going to do that. But just soaking your feet and letting everything relax again would help. Some tips that people do beforehand, some people actually do the old rubbing vodka on an area because it actually numbs it before you put the shoes on. Some people use the pads. Some people also will actually use numbing gels. So there's lots of things that you can do, but I don't have one to hand, but you could use a cooling foot spray once you come home and just cool it right down, or a cooling foot lotion. But basically what you want to do is get in there and stretch everything out again. So stretch out the toes, so stretch them one way and then stretch them another way. You also want to stretch out the balls of the feet, so maybe give it a right good stretch, but then also get onto the ground and actually give it a nice stretch too. So just stretch and release. And then obviously, because the heel is going to be sore too, if you've got the flexibility, you can get right in there and massage that heel. So those are the main things that I would do when it's a really high stiletto with quite a narrow toe. Now I'm going to move on to which is more of a midway shoe. So these shoes are quite good because they don't give you as much pain. So the heel isn't as high and it's not as stiletto-y. The front isn't as pointy. There's more room here, so it's not pinching the skin. And because it's not so high, there's not going to be as much pressure here. However, I've worn these before for like full day events, for weddings, day into evening, and like any shoe, at the end of the day, they do start to hurt. And it's always that walk if you're going to the car or the taxi and you're like, ow, 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 every step is like, ow. So with these type of shoes, even if they were a bit flatter, you're probably still going to feel at the end of the day there's going to be a bit of pressure and a bit of nipping. So here's what you could do in addition to those exercises for the higher stilettos and the pointier toes. Here are some suggestions for extra stretching exercises that you could do. So think about all those exercises for the first style of shoes, but in addition, again, depending on flexibility, you might have seen this before on different foot massage videos that I've done, but you can really work on stretching out. So you're almost like twisting your hands around the foot. So you would twist and twist and twist. So I'll actually do it on the floor so you can see it better. So you would twist and you're almost like stretching out all the bones, giving them all a good stretch. Really stretch it out, and then if you want to, you can actually take it over the heel. You can use your thumbs and do circles around the heel. And just use those thumbs just to stretch. Everything that's felt a bit crushed, you're stretching it out. And again, this is in addition to ideally soaking your feet if you can. Elevate your feet too if there's any puffiness. Remember, if you just elevate them with a couple of pillows, that can really, really help with anything. If there's any fluid there, any puffiness, it can really, really help. So that feels really good. And then what you can do, again, if it feels comfortable, is hold the foot and really stretch out those toes. Give them a right good stretch. And also, if you want to, you can do little circles, because what that's going to help with is releasing any of the tightness from those poor squashed toes. If they've all been crushed in and squashed, they will thank you for that. And then the other thing, if you wanted, is you could also do just a little bit of thumb movement just at the top of the foot. Again, it's just basically releasing anything that's been crushed. They'll really thank you for it. When I wouldn't do this is if your feet were actually really tender and really puffy. You know, sometimes if the shoes have been far too tight and you've actually started to puff up, I would probably just do a soak and some elevation, because when it's too puffy and too red and too sore, you're probably not going to want to touch it. But that's some suggestions for a middle of the road heel that's not too uncomfortable. The final example of a shoe that can really hurt at the end of a night is some sort of strappy shoe. Now, this is actually a flat sandal. A strappy shoe can feel very comfortable at the beginning of the night, and it doesn't matter the price of the shoe. They could be really reasonable high street, or they could be designer. Just through gravity, through movement, again through swelling, it could be what you were eating, how long you were dancing for. You can really, really, really start to get pinching just anywhere where there's a strap. And it can feel quite uncomfortable. It can rub, it can dig, and it can just feel like you just want to take them off and just walk in your bare feet rather than put up with the pain anymore. If there's a strap around the ankle too, sometimes by the end of the night that can be really digging in. So here are some suggestions for when it's a strappy shoe that's causing the problem. So if a sandal has really been digging in, then you might just want to leave it until the next day, because again, you don't want to irritate what might already be red and puffy. I've only had these on for a few minutes and I can already see the beginnings of the lines starting here. So you know that if you were wearing these all day, and I'm talking about party time and nights out, you've probably got sandals or shoes with a strap that you've wore on holiday, and you've thought it was a really good idea to go walking early on in the day, and then by midway through whatever the excursion was, you've seriously regretted your choice. So we've all been there. So if it's too delicate and it's too sore and too puffy and too irritated, then leave it till the next day. But what you can do is very, very gentle effleurage movements. Now, you could use a cooling foot gel, foot lotion, or use a spray, and then just gently effleurage that area. What you're doing is you're calming it, you're soothing it, but you're also helping any fluid to disperse that might be there that's causing the puffiness. Also, what you can do if it's really been digging in at the ankles is you can actually work around that ankle area. Just work with your thumb and just work around the ankle and then over where the straps would be. And it's almost like that wiggle walk that you do in reflexology. But again, it all depends on the comfort levels after you take that shoe off. And again, you can work around the other side just very gently using little thumb circles or thumb frictions around the ankle. You're just helping to ease off any irritation that's there because of that strap. And after your effleurage as well, if you really want to, if it's comfortable, you can take the foot and you can actually just stretch it out front and back with your thumbs. Give it a right good stretch, because again, it's not so much being crushed in the same way a high heel or a stiletto does, but it's more about the fact that the strap has been digging in rather than crushing in. Oh, we're so good to ourselves with our shoes, aren't we? So rather than sort of crushing your feet into a shape, it's more like it's pushing down and rubbing too. So if you've got any rubbing in any areas, you can use that area of your thumb and just soothe where it might have been rubbing. just ease it right off. And again, the other side, just ease it right off. But I'd say with sore feet, be guided by the areas that the shoe has been irritating. Be guided by what feels good. Is it a stretch that feels good? Is it an effleurage that feels good? Is it a thumb circle to really get the bones free and moving again? Or is it more about cooling and soothing and resting and elevating? But there's always something that you can do for your feet. You don't need to be in agony. But remember, if it's blisters, if it's cuts, if it's anything like that, just treat them as you would do normally. Put the relevant medical care on them. Don't play with them. Don't try and burst any blisters. Leave them all alone. Don't do any massage manipulations on any damage on your feet. And if you're really, really unsure, I would go to a chemist or a pharmacy just in case you've actually caused yourself a bit of damage, and people can do that with shoes all the time. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you enjoy wearing all of your party shoes this season. Let me know if you are actually able to go to any parties, because I'm really not sure what's happening here at the moment. Also, tell me what your most comfortable or uncomfortable going out shoes are. I'm always curious to know. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.